Singing me, oh Lord, a song for the people. Breathe in me the words to touch their hearts. Singing me, oh Lord, a song for the people. Showing them the way to walk in your
Shalom Chaverim and welcome to Pninei HaTorah, the Pearls of Torah. Every week we get together, Shabbat LeShabbat, to hear about the Lord, about the Torah, about Mashiach. And you know, God is a supernatural God, and God brought supernaturally a special guest to us, to me, for last night of Hanukkah. And I had a chance to sit with Dan David last night at Hanukkah and hear some of his stories. I said, Dan, we must share this story, your story, with the world. So today we have here for Parashat Vayigash, Dan David. Dan David, how are you doing?
Very good.
So wonderful to have you. Toronto, and he wanted to stay even extra time because he wanted to share this testimony. So we're so blessed to have you here. And you know, we talk about the Torah portion. So he said, "Oh, it is Parashat Vayigash, Joseph revealing himself to his brothers, and everybody knows you from your music. But people don't know a lot about you. And today we're going to get. You said, "Well, this story sounds very familiar to me in my own life." So we're going to talk about this. But tell me something. When you read the Torah portion this week, what jumped at you this week?
When I read the Torah portion?
Yes, what jumped at you?
I was really touched by verse Bereshit, Genesis 45, where Joseph could not control his feelings in front of his brothers because they just could not recognize him, and he was standing right next to them, and they could not recognize that he's their brother that they sold for slavery, and now he's ruler over Egypt.
And of course, Yosef is a picture of the Mashiach, son of Yosef. He's the picture of the Messiah. What does it make you feel inside as a Jew? By the way, if you don't know, Dan is a Jew, he's Israeli, and second, we'll know more about you. But how did it make you feel when you first time you were thinking about this passage, when you think about Joseph sitting there and he wants to reveal himself to his brother so bad, but he doesn't do it until the due time, until the right time. He's waiting for the right time. How do you think Joseph felt? What do you think Joseph's feeling was like in this moment?
Oh, he must have been outraged. I mean, I think outraged, nervous, a little bit nervous, uncontrollable, just unable to control himself.
So you see rage.
Rage, yeah.
But I also see in this probably sadness, great sadness. So on one hand you have him in rage.
Right.
And in one end you have him in deep sadness, because he wants to reveal. And I think there was also compassion.
Right, and then compassion too.
So he has compassion upon his brother, and he finally revealed himself to his brother.
Yes.
I want to ask you about this for a moment, because you also had a very similar experience. You not grow up in Messianic Judaism?
No.
Tell us a little bit about yourself, where you came from.
I grew up in Tel Aviv, Israel first, and for 10 years. And then my parents moved to Montreal, Canada.
And you were not raised up with Yeshua?
No, not at all. No, I grew up in a very secular Jewish home.
When I have a question for you. When's the first time you heard about Yeshua or Jesus that you can ever recall? Ever recall?
When I was 11 years old, and we just moved to to Montreal, Canada.
Yes.
And there was a song on the radio called "Jesus" by Depeche Mode, or you know, it had a different title, but it was the Jesus song by Depeche Mode.
You like the song?
I was, as an 11-year-old, I was addicted to the song. But I certainly did not believe in Jesus or Yeshua, but the song was very catchy.
So you were raised up in, secular Jewish home?
Absolutely, secular, reform type of Jewish home,
Reform, but believe in God.
Believe in God, yeah.
Believe in God, okay.
Very lightly, yeah.
And obviously God is giving you a tremendous gift with the violin.
Yes, absolutely.
So you knew from a young age that you have this gift, yes?
Yes.
But isn't it interesting? You didn't know how God going to use this gift until much later in your life. You see, what God prepared long before, when you probably were a little boy, he knew that you're going to become a praiser of the mighty one of Israel much later in your life. Because correct me if I'm wrong, you were raised up in the secular world. You were doing a secular music, I assume, yes?
Yeah, yes, of course.
Tell us a little bit. What kind of music? What were you doing?
Yeah, I was originally classically trained, and I got very, very far in it. And I completed a 4-year scholarship program in a university, college type of in Montreal. And it was fully on scholarship, and my teachers wanted me to be in the orchestras.
Hi.
But
And did you felt like this was what you were about to do?
no, I didn't feel right about it. I actually played as a soloist for about a year, actually, at the symphony. As a teenager, I was
Teenager?
I was late in my late teens, just
Oh,
late teens.
it's still a little teenager.
Just at the border, just about to become an adult. And as much as it was a great experience, very enriching experience to play all this classical music, and to play the most advanced pieces and cadenzas and solos, and to play in front of hundreds of people every time there was a concert, and even to have a full orchestra back you up, it was very rewarding as a child. But then I got slightly depressed later on because I needed to find answers, and I was in the dark, and so I moved to Toronto by myself, all alone. And
as they ask, how can a good Jewish boy like you find Yeshua? How is it possible? What, you go to darkness to find light? Is that what happened?
Well, I went to Toronto to study business, and I was going to give up on this violin altogether.
Give up on the violin?
This beautiful gift I got on my bar mitzvah. Actually, I got it.
This is on the bar mitzvah.
It's a specially handmade violin made in Germany. It's very, very valuable, but it's not a Stradivarius. And I nearly gave up on it. And there in college, as I was studying business, Adonai himself started reaching me and giving me songs, but they were beautiful mainstream songs.
Rega, I have to ask you a question.
Yeah.
Before you tell me about Adonai, the very first time you picked a violin, how old were you?
7.
7.
Yeah.
Do you still remember the very, 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 very first song you learned on the violin?
I don't remember the first song, no.
What is the very first memory of a song you can remember on a violin?
Oh.
8 years old, 9 years old? What is it? Very first one.
Really? Oh, I don't
Doesn't have to
remember.
be your first. Okay, what's the very first Jewish song you learned on the violin?
Actually, I do remember the first song.
Okay, can I hear a little bit?
Sure. I do remember the song.
Oh, would you remember what it's called?
Yeah, I think it's called Twinkle Little Star.
Twinkle Like a Star. Let's hear it. Yeah. And that's also called in Hebrew Yonatan HaKatan.
Yonatan HaKatan, yeah. Yes.
Yeah. And that was one of the very first. So you knew you had a gift.
Yeah.
Everybody, you almost gave up on the gift.
Yeah.
You were going to the secular world, in this sense.
Yeah.
Business, you were thinking of going to the business world.
Yeah, I already started.
And as they ask, what happened?
Yeah, it's a big question. Well, then, so Adonai started giving me songs, and for about 2 years.
You're not messianic.
No. Adonai started giving me songs to express the darkness I was feeling at the time, because, there were some family issues that suddenly happened.
Okay.
And there was, and so I went all alone to study business, but he started giving me songs that featured violin and a full band, a full rock band.
Rock?
Yeah.
Rock band, like when you're talking rock, like rock and roll.
Exactly. And so I wrote down all those songs, and then I was just all alone as a young man. And then when I saved up enough money to record a demo, I recorded a professional demo, and I started sending it out to record labels, and I got a record offer from one of them.
You did?
Yeah, from one of them. Yeah, and it was from the largest one. Like I've mailed it to about 6 or 7 labels, but the largest one got back to me, and
they say what?
I still remember the letter they sent me. They said, "We believe in you have potential, and we'd like to have you come to meet us and to discuss how we can make you international."
What you were thinking at this time?
Well, at this time,
I must ask you, still were you involved in any religious
no
life at this point?
No, at that point I was really worshiping Hashem all the time, but the concept of Yeshua was completely strange to me. I didn't know about it.
But were you connected at all to your Jewishness at this time, would you say?
At that time, I discovered some synagogue in Toronto just to go for Yom Kippur to services. Just to go. And,
but you were still writing songs.
I'm writing all these songs, and I get this record offer, and I went to meet the record label, and they wanted to sign me for 5 years. 5 years. But the deal wasn't very good, and I unfortunately did not have the right contacts to negotiate a better deal.
Okay.
And so
Unfortunately, or maybe fortunately, God probably have a plan.
Who knows? Who knows? And at the time, I was very. At that point, I developed a lot of overly confident type of mentality to the point where.
Were you doing concerts during this time?
Not right away, but soon after the deal came, I was asked to accompany a few pop stars and play with them. So,
oh yeah?
Yeah, and so I was.
So you did some things like even on big stages? Probably.
Yeah, up to 27,000 people.
20? Can I ask what was 27?
Well, 27,000. I played actually for a special production. It was just a special event that happened in Toronto, and I was the violinist for it.
Oh.
But I played for 13,000 people with a Persian pop star named Gugush. Gugush, it's a singer of Persian music. Yeah, she hired me as a violinist, and I worked with other people too.
Okay.
And so I put the record deal on hold and eventually forgot about it because it just wasn't meeting what I was looking for. And I had no way to renegotiate it better. I didn't have a lawyer at the time. And so, but I accompanied Gugush, and it was in that concert that this lovely, Persian Muslim woman.
Persian Muslim,
yeah,
wow.
Hires me as a Jew, as a Jewish man.
Oh my goodness.
I was only 22 at the time. And then she hires also a musician named Pedro, and he's world famous.
Gugush, a Jew, a Persian, and a Hispanic. Wow, it sounds like a joke.
Yeah, and she hires a Brazilian Christian flute player who is one of the best in the world. He's the flute player for Yanni and Phil Collins.
Okay.
But he was something different about him.
Okay.
Yeah, like during the rehearsals, we had rehearsals every single day, and in this kind of level of secular music, they hire the top musicians they can find in each city.
Yeah.
And you have rehearsals, every single day before a concert for 13,000 people.
I can imagine that.
And during the rehearsals, Pedro kept always praising Yeshua in his faith.
Oh my goodness!
And Gugush was there.
Did he say Jesus? Did he say Yeshua?
He did say Jesus.
What are you thinking about this? You thought he was praising Jesus before the.
Well.
What were you thinking about it?
I definitely was impressed how fearless he was, because Gugush was there with all her crew and security guards and all her musicians, the drum, the bass, guitars. And there's this guy just praising Jesus, and he's so free in the spirit, he just doesn't care. And I was inspired. I was like, this guy, they think he's crazy, but he's actually inspiring. He's not crazy.
Inspiring?
Yeah, he just inspired me.
Sometimes, Dan, when we're bold about our faith, we don't know who he's going to touch. And in this case, he was bold, but sounds like it somehow impacted you.
Well, he was the best musician I'd seen at that time. I mean, especially when we actually played the concert, and I wasn't used to 13,000 people at that time. It was my first time.
Sure.
I was only 22 years old. My hands were actually sweating during that point, although I couldn't really sweat too much because I had a lot of solos to do. But he was used to those audiences, and he played like this is a piece of cake. And he just enjoyed himself so much, and he was praising Jesus the whole time.
Whoa!
And I was
in a rock concert.
In a rock concert.
That is wild.
Yeah, and we all got a big standing ovation. But he was featured on the newspapers after the concert because he was so incredible.
Yeah.
And I remember we didn't interact too much with Pedro, but he did interact with me a few times. And the last interaction we had before we all went our way was a big hug from him, and he said, "God bless you."
He knew you were Jewish.
He knew I was Jewish, yeah. And he wasn't even, I don't think he was trying to witness to me. He just said, "God bless you." And when he did say that to me, it was not a regular "God bless you." It was like, I knew that he's God, the God he believes, which is our God, the Adonai, but he believes in Adonai.
You sense it in this. But you were not a believer.
No, I was not. But the moment I left that concert and went to actually stay in a hotel, I knew that Yeshua was real.
Really?
I knew it. I just knew it.
Not even from the Bible, from this guy action, basically.
Oh yeah, I never read the Bible before. The last time I read the Bible, I was 7 years old. I was reading because it was mandatory in Israel.
Oh yeah.
I was reading because it was mandatory in school. So yeah.
So what? You had something in you happen after this rock concert that you knew? Did you know who? Did you ever heard at this point the name Yeshua?
Never.
You never know about.
No.
So how did? I'm trying to understand this.
Yeah, I know. I mean, this is the most unusual circumstance because after such a rock concert, you would assume that you'd go into drugs and drinking and all that stuff. Yeah. Especially when you play for that many people. But I actually discovered Yeshua through that concert. because Pedro touched me in the spirit, and I just couldn't sleep that night. I remember that night I went to my hotel room, and I didn't want to go to sleep because I was just like, I was like open to the reality of Yeshua suddenly, and it was a beautiful reality, and it was incredible.
When is the very first time, let me ask you a question, when's the very first time that you truly had a revelation of the Messiah? Don't you have you have an album, right? Is it called Vision of Messiah?
Yes, Vision of Messiah.
When is the very first time you can remember that you said, wait a second, I just had a vision of the Mashiach, that you can recall?
Well, it took me about 5 to 6 months to accept Yeshua.
Okay.
And after the experience with Pedro, so I was a difficult one still. I was a difficult Jewish young man to win for Yeshua.
Did you met at this point any Jewish person that knew?
No, I didn't. And I had no one to talk to about that experience I had in the spirit. But I remember that following that experience for about 4 months or 5 months, I would have dreams about Yeshua in my dreams, and I would still not accept him. I had dreams about Yeshua, but I couldn't make sense of that.
Did you knew for you as a Jew that Jesus was wrong? Did you knew that? Did you had any struggle inside?
I had struggled with it, yeah, for sure.
Struggle.
Yeah, of course. But in my dreams, Yeshua kept speaking to me that if you accept me, I will show you the heavenly, realms. I will show you better places, I will show you the paths of life, like in Psalm 16.
Yeah,
I'll show you the paths of life. And so I was struggling with that the dreams were so beautiful and I knew they were real, but
the
I
amazing
couldn't
thing
accept
for me, you
it.
still have not even opened the Bible.
I didn't have one.
You
Yeah.
didn't have a Bible even.
I was all alone. Yeah.
But God had an encounter. So tell me about what happened 5-6 months later.
5-6 months later, now after that rock concert, one important event that happened in my life is that I left home. My parents at that point did move to Toronto to follow me, and I lived with them for about a year. But then I left home because I knew I needed just my space at that point. And so the whole family was in Toronto, and I leave home. I relocate to a town called Markham, which is just 20 minutes away in Toronto, close enough. And I needed those 6 months to get myself established as a musician. I started since I didn't sign the record deal, I started doing local events and local business. And local work, including.
Were you still doing music?
I was doing full-time music at that point. Yeah, and after about 5 months, I got established to the point that I knew I could make a living doing that. I was only 22.
Before you continue, I gotta ask you: do you still retain any relationship with Pedro?
A little bit, yes.
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 Well, that's pretty amazing.
Yeah,
that's pretty so cool.
Yeah, a little
bit. Did you tell Pedro that you know you're the Messiah?
I don't fully know that he actually knows about it.
Wow. I got to find this Pedro guy.
For sure.
Give me a big hug.
For sure. Yeah. So after that, for 5-6 months, I just kept hearing Yeshua's voice in my spirit, but I kept not being able to understand what he was speaking to me. I was because of all the confusion the Jewish people have about the Messiah, about Yeshua. But then it was one night I was driving, and I was about to turn 23. It was about 15 years ago, actually, about 15 years ago. And as I was driving, suddenly Yeshua spoke to me in a different tone.
Wow.
He started speaking to my spirit, but very clearly. He said, I'm the way, the truth, and the life. And
you heard it. You heard it clearly.
I heard it very clearly, and I never opened the Bible before. He said, I'm the way, the truth, and the life. He said to me, Dan, I know you seek Adonai all the time, but I'm the way to Adonai. You don't need to doubt it. I'm the way. I'm the only way. And so as he said that, now I was happy. This, a lot of people assume that you find Yeshua when you're miserable or you have something goes wrong in your life. This was a happy day in my life. The Lord called me in a very happy day. You would think I don't need anything else. I was just driving, listening to a beautiful song on the radio, and just moving forward with my plans. And then he's at the red light. He says, "I'm the way, the truth, and the life." You only know
the red
Hashem.
light.
It was in the red light, yeah. And you'll only know Hashem, Adonai through me. And then he touched me, and I was suddenly all in tears because I knew this was real. And then further to that, the veil of the invisible came out.
So this Torah portion is kind of, in a way, your own life.
In a way.
But I want to ask you, when the veil was lifted, what emotion did you sense from Hashem? Was it anger? You know how we talked about you in the Torah. Was it anger? Was it love? What did you sense from God?
Great love, great compassion.
Great love.
And I could see him for 5 seconds when he took that veil off. And then he took off all my doubts, because my doubts were, if you follow Jesus, you become Christian.
Yes.
And you're no longer Jewish. But he said to me, follow me, just follow me. He didn't say, go into this church or that church. He just said, follow me.
Follow
me, that's all.
And we're going to hear for a moment what it is meant, what happened next. This is such an exciting story, Dan. I love it.
Yeah.
I want to ask you a question, though. This is an important question. Did your playing change? Did you sense difference in your playing?
Absolutely.
That's where I'm interested to know. Is God done anything in the physical to show you what He showed in the spiritual? Did He do anything in the physical, even with your talents?
Absolutely. Then I started practicing my violin more because now I didn't sign the record deal and I had more time to just stay locally grounded.
No.
And so I was practicing some of the most advanced pieces I could find, and he showed me how to do them.
Crazy
And
pieces,
I was able to play them. He gave me the gift to play Celtic music too, Irish music.
Can you play us something Celtic? Maybe people don't know what is Celtic.
Yeah.
And matter of fact,
Yeah.
I don't know, you have in your recent CD, you did like something crazy. Celtic Messianic deal.
Yeah.
And I love this thing. By the way, I got to tell you,
I have lots of
these
Celtic music,
CDs of these guys, he and both his wife, they're playing 24/7 in my house. You want an awesome worship that is Messianic, spiritual. You get those CDs and immediately you buy them, you support really holy work. Can you play us a little bit of something from your recent CD, kind of a Celtic, so people get a feeling what a Celtic Messianic, Irish, Jewish, Israeli, rock, what is his name, Goo Goo Gaga, whatever it was called, all combined into one. Let's hear it.
Yes. Yeah, sure. Just a second here. Amen. Yeah, there is a song called "Fiddling in the Shul," which is it is recorded with a full band.
Okay, let's hear a little bit. Wow, bravo. That's phenomenal. It is Celtic, but it also sounds very Jewish.
It sounds Jewish, Jewish Celtic
So,
maybe,
so let me ask you, you start finding those crazy complicated pieces and all of a sudden you can play them even better than ever before.
Oh yeah,
it's like God anointed this.
Yeah, and what happened was some relatives of mine who were completely disbelieving, they didn't even believe in Hashem, they were laughing at me saying, oh, you once were in this scholarship program and you were playing all these solos, and here you are, left it all behind, and you'll never be able to play like that again. And half a year into coming to know Yeshua, my level went higher than it ever was before.
Really?
Now the same for violin is that if you stop playing a few weeks, you're going to lose a lot of your touch.
Tell me, the violin, you need a lot of dexterity, right?
Constant practice. But Yeshua took my level up so much higher than I've ever been. And he even took me back to my school studies in music and showed me all the theory things I never understood.
Boy.
And so, as you can imagine, from there I became a really in-demand teacher because I used to teach violin part-time, and soon enough my schedule was filled up with students. I couldn't handle so many students because
incredible. But God, it was the beginning of your journey. You thought it was the end.
It was the baby steps.
It's a baby step. So first he unveiled himself, he revealed himself to you. And I got to ask you, first time you heard the term Messianic Judaism.
Yeah.
What was it? Where was it? How was it? First time you're in the Messianic synagogue. Tell us about this experience. Where was it?
Well, I must admit, it took me a long time to finally get into that.
You're still, I mean, it's not easy
for
us
as
Jews.
Not easy. It took me about 6 years or so to discover that movement.
Yes?
Yes, because the movement just wasn't very popular.
Where is the first time you were in a quote-unquote Messianic service?
Yeah, when?
You remember? Where it was?
Yeah, I was in Toronto, in my hometown.
In your hometown?
Yeah.
That was, which congregation it was?
It's called City of David, Messianic.
City of David. And you heard Messianic music, right?
Yes.
Were you already familiar a little bit with Messianic music, or not much?
No. The interesting thing is I was for a time misled that that knowing Yeshua means you go to a church. Even though Yeshua told me you don't have to do that. I did not quite understand everything I was sensing. And so I was going to a church, but then...
Okay, wait. I put you on the spot because this violin, I love hearing it. What's the first quote-unquote Christian song, not Jewish, Christian song that you played violin, you talked about, that you heard? You remember a little bit?
Yeah, there's a couple of them that I used to know.
Yeah, play us something, just a couple seconds.
Yeah, okay, sure.
Lord, I lift your name up high.
Yeah.
Okay, now, tell me the very first Messianic song you learned that you can remember, that you heard. Do you remember?
The first Messianic song I ever learned was Kadosh.
Play us a little bit.
But there is many versions of Kadosh now, different Kadosh songs out. But the first song was the
I
old-fashioned.
want to hear the verse Kadosh you heard.
That's the first song I learned in the Messianic movement. And I must admit that when I got to that Messianic synagogue, I came there a little bit not knowing what to expect. I came there just as a music professional. I came there that was already a point that I was playing in churches, playing in...
You didn't really know about the Messianic
Didn't know much about it. And I came there more looking for yet another place maybe I could play and do some work with. Because I was doing this full time at this point, and I was guitarist and a band and all that. And suddenly I listened to the message of the rabbi, and I was really blown away because suddenly I discovered that the Jewish people do believe in the Jewish Yeshua, in the Jewish Messiah, in the Jewish way. And that he wants us to know him from the Torah. We don't even, that he's revealed in the Torah over 100 times. And I was just started to connect. Also, the message was very real about how do you walk with Yeshua rather than just believe in him. And just,
that's very, very different.
And I remember I was blown away that first service so much so that
it was a Shabbat service.
Service,
I know the rabbi, great people there.
Yeah, I got really connected there somehow.
Amazing. And the first time you heard the violin singing to Mashiach in Hebrew, did he do something to your...
Absolutely.
Neshama, tell us. I want to know what was going on.
Yeah, for the first time in 6.5 years, I started putting on my kippah and started wearing my, started looking at the Torah. Because before I was going to a church and all I was reading is the book of Matthew, which is a great book, but, it's a great book.
You don't get that in your regular conservative synagogue.
But I knew I was missing something, and it got to the point that I wasn't even opening the Bible unless it was just like a little verse here and there. But now I was reading the Torah because I was told that.
But the interesting thing when you're in Israel, live in Israel, you study the Torah at school, but they make you. It's not like you. It's not like probably you pick it up. So now you open the Torah again, and you see Mashiach there.
I see Mashiach there. Yeah, for about 2-year period, I was studying, and then I came across verses like Jeremiah 31:31, where God says, I will make a new covenant with the house of Israel. I never knew about that. I never knew about those verses.
We don't study those things.
But it's all in the Torah, and it amazed me.
And as a matter of fact, I want to ask you, before we hear Kadosh, I want to ask you, do you remember any time that you looked at the Torah and you had like a aha moment, that you read a scripture and says, oh my word, this is the Messiah? Do you remember any passage in the Torah that ever impacted you?
Impacted me?
Impacted you, that you saw Mashiach, Yeshua in it, more than any other passage, anything that you recall in the very first early years in the Messianic movement that really
my early years.
just touched you in any way specifically. Like you mentioned Jeremiah 31, anything else that really impacted you?
Yes. Absolutely. Well, there's so many of them right now. I didn't even come prepared to share about the one specific. But actually, the story of Joseph is one that really touches me a lot.
So that is a perfect week.
This is a perfect
week, right?
The story of Joseph really touches me because just like Joseph really represents Yeshua in that his brothers thought that he was dead and he was sold out as a slave for a few pieces of silver.
I'm going to put you on the spot for a second.
And yet he wasn't dead at all. He became ruler,
Can you do something for me
for
a moment?
Yes.
Before you play Kadosh, close your eyes for a second. I want you to picture right now Yosef about to reveal himself to his brother.
Sure.
Can you give me some melody that captures perhaps, I know this is something completely, I felt by the Spirit that you're so gifted that you can put something for us for a moment that captured this heart of Yosef revealing himself to his brother, all the emotions, all the pain and the anger and the love, all mixed into once, and the desire to reconcile with his brother. Can you play us something along this line for a couple of seconds?
To play something that represents that.
That's represent that. Something from the Ruach.
Sure.
Yes.
Sure.
Thank you, Dan.
I'll try something.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
That was phenomenal.
Thank you.
I
Thank you.
sense the Spirit of God.
Wow,
Do you understand what a blessing it is to have among us our God taking among us people who are in one extreme to bring them to Him? It's incredible. He anointed you clearly with His violin.
Thank you
So
much.
you walk into the Messianic deal and say, "Oh, there are more Jewish people who love the Messiah."
Yes.
And did you say, "Oh, wow, I want to be a part of it," or did you still want to be part of the church? How did you view yourself at this point? Were you conflicted by this thing?
Yeah. It was a bit of an identity crisis, but it was short-lived because I started having so many friends in the Messianic movement, and I remember studying about Passover because I got into the movement around that time, and so I actually started even going to a Shabbat group where people would just get together for Shabbat and do the kiddush and everything, just eat the challah bread and everything. And my Judaism started returning to me. It was almost like a part that was completely missing for 6.5 years.
So what would you say somebody says you cannot believe in Yeshua and be Jewish? What would you answer to them?
They're clearly missing the mark because Yeshua came for the Jewish people first. He came first for the Jew, then for the nations. And so he came for the Jewish people as a Jewish rabbi. So everything about believing him is Jewish. And you know what? For me, it's a living proof because I lost my Judaism around the time that I was going to a church. But even before then, because I wasn't practicing anything, I wasn't going anywhere. So actually, when I was going to the church, at least
In a way, you are more Jewish now than you have been in your entire life.
In your entire life. I started discovering the Torah correctly, and Yeshua was guiding me around it. And then I started wearing my kippah literally almost every day, going in my community. And it got to the point that I had to sell my first home and relocate to the Jewish part of Toronto called Thornhill. And all my neighbors were Jewish, and I just needed to be around the Jewish people just because I belonged there. Suddenly all the peace.
Living among the people.
Everything became so clear. But also, my parents, of course, like most parents of a new Jewish believer, they of course were confused about my faith. It was a big shock at first, but when I rediscovered the Jewish roots and they found out I go to a synagogue now of Jewish believers, but also they saw me on television sharing my music and a little bit of my story. They came to faith eventually. They came to faith.
Wow, what an incredible story.
They came to faith in Yeshua. And so,
what's the incredible story?
And
the very, very first time, I want to get a straight answer though. When you heard Kadosh, right?
Yeah.
What did you feel inside as a Messianic believer? That you hear Hebrew and you understand that the one with Kadosh is the Mashiach.
Yes.
Was it a revolutionary thing?
Yes, for sure. I mean,
at this point, did you know that you're going to be a recording artist of Messianic music?
Not at all. I was not at all.
That was not your plan.
That was
your
not my plan.
person's to do a concert with Gugu and Gaga and all those kind of crazy stuff.
Right.
How do you get from this to this? That is pretty big jump.
Yeah, one thing led to another.
Before we get this, I want to hear the very first Messianic song that you learned.
Oh, sure. Sure.
Is that incredible or what? What a treat we have here today in the studio.
Well, all these songs have vocals and guitars and some.
But for us to hear this and to see how God is taking this gift. So he's taking this gift. Here's what I'm hearing from your story. First of all, he take the gift that was always there because he knew you. The scripture tells us, friend, that he knew us before we were even formed. He knew us from the womb. He knew every hair on your head. He knew every skill you have. He knew even every struggle you had. But he used those struggles to bring you closer to him, to see the revelation of the Mashiach. True. Then, okay, you get to the Messianic movement. I know you end up meeting a beautiful young lady that ended up being your wife later on. But when did you know that now I want to take, because your ministry, right? Dan David, what's the name of the ministry? Dan David Music. Dan David Music is really, in the end of the day, is an outreach ministry.
Right.
And friends, I brought your Dan because I believe that we need to support this ministry. You see, there is something about music with Jewish people.
Right.
That I don't care how many messages I give.
Yeah.
It's not going to get through. But music is a way to a Jewish soul. Do you agree with me with that?
Yes. And
why do you think it's happened? Why do you think this is?
Well, a lot of our music also has a full band and singing, so it's a lot more complete than what I'm doing now. But yeah, it is because it touches the soul. It speaks to the soul directly.
Something about Jewish souls, they are really...
It speaks to the
I
spirit.
remember when I had the chance to do outreaches with you, something when the music starts, the demeanor of the people change.
Yeah.
So,
but it's that music has the power to inspire, to heal, to do so many things. And we really want people to be inspired. I mean, we're not, we're not just coming in to say one thing or another. We want people to be inspired.
When did you know that Dan David Music Ministry is really going to be truly, you are really an outreach organization. When push comes to shove, you're sharing a message.
Yeah.
So I want to ask you, first of all, what is the message? What is the message that you want to bring to your Jewish people? And to the nations. But let's start with the Jewish people. What is the message? Well, because you ended up launching the ministry, right?
Yeah, of course.
So tell us a little bit about the ministry.
Yeah. Well, it's me and my wife and our team in Toronto, and we record music that really has already touched hundreds of thousands of lives.
Yes.
And actually right now we're hoping to be able to record a new CD, but we're raising support for that around the world. And we want to record a incredible new CD that will draw people closer to God, to Adonai.
And if people want to support this, they can go to your website,
absolutely.
Right? You have it in the Lord. Support this work. It's holy work. I've seen the fruit of the work. It's playing in my house. I love it. I love what you do. You do outreaches all over the world with these things. But before we get there, before you tell us exactly what you do, tell us when the moment that you knew that you're going to go into the ministry, what was this deciding moment that you said, okay, enough of this, I want to go really 100% to the Lord? What was it like?
It was, I remember those, it was steps of moments that happened, but one of them was, I could say one of the highlights was Messiah Conference 2008.
2000, okay. 2008. Tell us about that.
Well, I was invited, I was a completely unknown musician at the time in the Messianic movement, and I was invited to do a couple of songs on the main stage. And then a musician who was really well known at the time, Marty Getz, asked me to accompany him on a song, and we never rehearsed it. And we played, there was about 2,000 people in the attendance audience.
Yes.
But then the television crew of Daystar was there, and I was really just, as we played together, it just felt like it was something happened in the spirit, it was something different. And we played a very powerful, beautiful song of his, but something happened in the spirit, because I was not at all going for that calling and career, and something happened in the spirit that really started working on me.
It's like God keep on throwing you curved balls.
Yeah. Something happened, and then this musician, he had a gift of speaking in prophecy, in type of prophecy, and he prophesied that there's an older generation of people in this movement who are getting older, but the younger guys like myself shall rise up and continue singing for Yeshua.
Amen.
That really touched me. In fact, I remember watching the replay of that video. And while my performance wasn't at the level I'd like it to have been at the time, but when I watched the rerun and I saw what he spoke,
I have a hard time believing that, by the way. Okay. Maybe for you, not for everybody else. But
I remember when I saw the rerun, back then I was living in a condo where I had a special media room. So I went to the media room, I put it on a big screen, I was looking at it, and the Lord spoke to me even through that video. He said, you got to make the music and reach my people. And he wasn't meaning like reach a few people here or there, but he was talking about reaching millions of people for him.
Wow.
And that's where a couple nights later he spoke to me in a dream, and he said to me to close down. I owned already a small music school at that point, and so I was teaching 5 days a week, and then I was doing concerts on the weekends, including corporate events and playing with a Celtic band. And the Lord said to me to close it all down and to move into this ministry mission field and to reach His people, to play for them. And at first it was hard to believe. I said, Lord, how, this is already a big mainstream music business that I have going. I know 30 clients regularly. I was buying, selling instruments to help my clients. It was quite a thing going on. I was playing in a Celtic band that we usually played for 2,000 or 3,000 people in special events. And we did private events for the mayor of our city, for the police. We had a lot of clients.
So you were very well established.
Sort of, yeah, I would say that. And then the Lord says to me that one night, you got to close it all down and move into play for me and play to draw people to me. And it was a big risk.
Did you know what it entails at this time? Did you know what you're getting yourself into even?
Not really, no, not really. But I remember I woke up from that and I wrote it all down. I wrote it all down on my computer. I said, this is what God spoke to me to do.
You were not married yet, by the way.
No, I was completely single.
Do you believe that because of your obedience, I'm going to throw something like this, He sent you Melissa? I really believe that.
Absolutely.
You know that? Because I gotta say something. If you think Danny's talented, wait till you meet his better half, and I mean the better half, because Melissa is every bit as talented as you are, and we just love when you guys worship together and do this music together. She's incredible as well.
Yeah.
So you shut down your store, you are not saying, okay, I am going to reach Jewish people, I'm going to do this thing. God is send you a bride, and you have those beautiful children too now, and Baruch Hashem. So tell us, what is the first thing you have done, the very first project?
With Melissa?
The very first project to reach, with Melissa, or to reach our people. What was the very first one?
The very first
project, the very first song.
The very first song we recorded was called Hoshiana, which is we recorded her city Sojourn. And Sojourn, it's all about a journey, and it was beautiful music with her vocals and piano.
Hoshiana is where we get the word Hosanna from, actually. Hoshiana.
Salvation, yeah. And that song just has been such a touching song. Now there's congregations who use it in their worship.
I know. Can we hear a few octaves just from the melody of Hoshiana?
Yeah, I believe if people go to our website, you'll actually hear a sample of it.
Go to the website.
And you can even order the CD.
Go and order. This is anointed music. Yeah, let's hear a little bit of Hoshiana.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Wow, bravo, that's phenomenal.
And that song was touching, really touching to the people.
That song was touching.
But actually, one thing we did as an outreach project, I apologize to interrupt. One thing we did as an outreach project is we actually, in our first year of marriage, we interviewed people that had incredible supernatural testimonies, similar to myself. And some of those people have had incredible stories. And we filmed them. We did a video project called On the Road with Dan and Melissa David. And we filmed some incredible people, including one former Orthodox rabbi who had an experience with Yeshua. And we interviewed people all the way from Washington State, all the way to Florida, to Toronto. And we put this together on a DVD, and we worked really hard on it and printed hundreds of copies and gave that to Jewish people who just wanted to know those testimonies and wanted to see it,
And that's what I love about this ministry. I had a chance to do the work with you where a Jewish man came to know the Messiah. We did this thing. Your heart is to see all of Israel being saved.
Amen.
And I know that this is our heart. Talk to me a little bit about Hanitzachon Shelanu. What is this all about?
This is Not an official CD, but it's something I put together because this past March I went to Israel for the first time.
Tell them what הניצחון שלנו mean in Hebrew.
It means the victory is ours. Yeah, and we did this to inspire the soldiers, to inspire them. And this is not a messianic CD necessarily, but the music is very inspiring and comforting for the soldiers.
Can I hear something from הניצחון שלנו?
Yes.
The Battle of David.
Yes, there is a... Yeah.
Can you tell us what is this all about, the Battle of David?
Yeah.
Is it your battle or Battle of King David or both?
A bit of both. Yeah. Yeah, it's a song I wrote. It has a full band actually. This song has has 5 versions. One of them is with a full orchestra. One of them is with a rock band.
Oh.
And one of them is dubstep because the soldiers, they like that energy.
So let me get it straight.
Yeah.
You go to Eretz Israel.
Yeah.
And you give it to the soldiers
Yes.
who fighting our border. I don't
Amen.
know about any better worthy cause. Support this work. It's holy work. Let's hear Battle of David a little bit.
Yes,
Couple
yes.
of
Amen.
octaves of this battle.
Amen. Again, it's on the website.
I
as a
probably
sample.
want to jump
Yeah.
up and down here, but I can't because there's a green screen behind me. So go ahead.
Yeah. Again, it's on the website. There's samples of that. but
Let's hear it.
Yes, it was a real pleasure to play for soldiers, and they received it very well. Yeah. So on.
Wow, that is what I'm talking. I can see a picture of the Lion of Judah coming with your song, you know?
Amen.
Lion of Judah coming and battle for
Amen,
Israel.
amen.
So tell me, how it's been received by the soldiers when you come and you do those
very well.
concerts?
Oh, very well.
And what,
Yeah.
what is the reaction?
Yeah, no, it's and this song is written toward Israel to give them hope that Adonai wants to give them the
So
victory.
your ministry right
He
now
wants to
toward
give each one of us
Yerushalayim,
victory when
toward
we obey him.
Israel,
Yeah.
toward the Jewish people, and I believe that God is honoring that in a
Yeah.
mighty way. So tell us, you do a lot of outreaches in Israel. You do with the Russian speaking.
Yes, I did an outreach in Haifa that was very productive. 40 people wanted to draw closer to Adonai because of that. 40, yeah, Russian Jewish people, yeah. And this all takes enormous work. It takes organization and teaming up with the people in every city.
Funding.
Oh, it takes a lot of
And
work.
I'm
and funding,
asking you today to support Dan and Melissa, David, and these projects that they're doing. There's exciting projects. They're touching hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people, probably thousands of people at this point,
maybe thousands,
for the name of Yeshua. And it's all done in the name of Yeshua, right? I just
Yeah,
want to
all
make
the
sure
music- all the
you don't
music.
compromise Yeshua, right?
No, not in the music. In fact, we are hoping to record a new CD as we speak right now. So we're trusting God to provide for that project. And once we record, we print copies in the thousands. Like we never print below 1,000 per printing. And
thousands.
we want to be able to reach a lot of people and give them the CDs.
Incredible. I want to ask you a question. If there is one, we will do one more song. I want to ask you if there is a one Jewish melody for you, a Jewish melody that people will recognize, that capture the heart for you, the heart of God toward the Jewish people. What would it be?
Or a Jewish melody?
A Jewish melody. What would it be for you?
Oh.
I told you, I'm going to put you on the spot. I would love to hear what is your heart, perhaps, through this violin. A Jewish melody that captured the heart of God.
Oh, okay. I believe this one, maybe.
incredible.
Amen.
I don't know a better song, a melody about returning and being restored to Jerusalem than Yerushalayim Shel Zahav by Naomi Shemer. That is captured the heart of Mashiach to return, to be restored. So I want to ask you then, kind of in conclusion here, because this has been such a rich time with you. Thank you for opening up to us.
Amen. It's so good to be here.
Two questions. Number one is, what can people do to be part of what you guys are doing? What people can do? Where they can get your music, etc., etc. Tell us a little bit. And tell us about this upcoming project too, if you don't mind.
Yeah, well, the easiest way is because we're a Canadian-based ministry is to go on our website, which is, I believe, it's on the screen. And people can hear some samples.
What can they pray for also? What is the prayer needs right now?
Yeah, well, the main prayer need right now is we're raising support to record the next CD. It's a worship CD called Draw Me Close. It's about drawing people closer to Hashem. I'm not saying that because it's our project. I believe it's going to be. I believe the songs are just some of the deepest.
I really believe it.
Most colorful songs we've ever
put
together.
I have 5 DVDs in my player in the house that play 24/7. One of their DVDs is playing there all the time, day in and day out.
Yeah, so we want to be able to record the CD. You can also pray for us to build our team. We're trying to build our team so we can expand our reach with social media a bit more, because a lot of people are coming now to look for us on social media.
And in your nature, you're touching so many people, and I know that they are very fruitful. So we really need to get behind. We need to support this great couple, this ministry.
And of course, people can buy CDs online. We have a store that handles everything.
Get the CDs, you will be blessed. Here is my last question for you.
Yes.
What is your word today? And in a second we'll hear it through the violin, but what is your heart and word to share with the Jewish people who are watching this program today? What is in your heart? What is in your spirit to tell them?
If people are wondering if Yeshua is real or not, because most people, they do their own searching. They're searching for their own answers and spiritual truth. I've come to discover him to be the way, the truth, and the life. He not only showed me the way to Adonai, which I was always seeking Adonai, but when I came to know Yeshua, I never had to doubt again that Adonai exists, because before Yeshua, I had my doubtful moments, because Adonai was guiding me through the music and through the record deal and my songs, and also he was healing me, because I came from a broken family at that point, and I was able to reconcile the family in a unique way. But I always had doubts whether he's real or not, and when things didn't seem to go the right way, I suddenly had my moment, Adonai, are you real or am I just imagining? But when I came to know Yeshua, I never had to doubt this again. I knew he was real.
Can we say pretty safely then that this brother who is the king, just like Joseph, truly care and miss terribly his brothers?
Absolutely, like Joseph, I can't imagine being in Joseph's shoes, seeing brothers that you ask them, where is that other brother, and they say, oh, he died or something like that, and you're standing right next to them in authority, and you can put them all in prison for all and he shows all that compassion and love and forgiveness to them. And Yeshua, I believe it's such a great representation, because a lot of Jewish people today, if you're going to ask him, what do you know about this Jesus person, and they're going to say, oh, we killed him, we killed him, back in the day, we crucified him, whatnot, yet he's alive and well, reigning over all of the earth, and he's just waiting to reveal himself to us, to everybody who doesn't know him. And he's very merciful. I could say God is very merciful, because he has the power to do his way. So he's very merciful. He's very patient, very patient.
And maybe the last piece, before we conclude, I love what you said, and I want to finish with this word of Yeshua himself. He says there, and I will read it to you in Hebrew. Maybe the Spirit can give you something in the violin to illustrate this word. I will say them in Hebrew. And maybe Hashem give you something.
Sure.
ירושלים, ירושלים, ההורגת את הנביאים, והסוקלת את השלוחים. אליה כמה פעמים רציתי לקבץ את בנייך, כתרנגולת המקבצת את אפרוחיה תחת כנפיה, ולא אביתם. הנה ביתכם יעזב לכם שמם, כי אני אומר לכם, ראו לא תראוני מעתה, עד אשר תאמרו, ברוך הבא, בשם אדוני. Maybe you can play us something, not to show us his sadness, but a picture of hope for what this meeting between Yosef to his brother would look like when they say Baruch haba b'shem Adonai.
Sure. Play the melody to that.
Anything that Hashem lay upon your heart. Then.
Wow.
Because he's going to meet his brothers again. And we're waiting for this day.
Exactly.
Amen.
Except that now it's many brothers.
Yeah, many.
All of Israel. Yeah.
All of Israel. Let's
All
hear
the Jewish
something
people.
along these lines.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Amen. This return will be glorious, and we are expecting this day.
Yeah.
We want to leave you with a word of hope. If you are watching this program today,
Beautiful, yes.
there is hope. There is hope in Mashiach. He is coming again soon. And I asked Dan, jokingly, I said, Dan, would you be willing to close this program with us today? I think it's appropriate to close it with a song of hope called Hatikva.
Yeah, I'm looking. Coincidentally, I have it on this CD.
You have the song Hatikva here.
We
And
gave it
you
to the
know,
soldiers. Yeah.
I am a rabbi, I'm not a musician, but I asked Dan if he will allow me the joy of playing Hatikva with him, and with this message of hope in behalf of Avat Ami Ministries, in behalf of David Ministries, we leave you with the blessing of the hope.
Amen.
And Kol Tuv, and may the God of Israel bless you. להתראות until next time.
Amen. להתראות. תודה רבה. Good to be here.
Great.
Thank you.